The title of this piece is called Abused. It's a piece on domestic violence. It's just something that kind of resonates with me because I have a lot of friends who suffer from that. So, yeah, here we go. The infant cries. The tears run down the mother's face as he strikes her again and again and again in his drunken anger and his drunken rage, throwing her against the wall as she struggled to assess his wrath and his mental gauge. He punches her hair, kicks her there, bruises covering her like discolored words on a bleeding page, having her realize that like this, she will never make it to a ripe old age. The infant cries, the tears run down the mother's face, as her mind wandered back to that physically violent and psychologically disturbing night. She wanted to be a good wife, but knew that in order to survive, she had to take flight. But he had now become a continuous nightmare, where he had once been her matrimonial ray of light, and she was terrified of his anger that she might somehow unknowingly incite. The infant cries, the tears run down the mother's face, as she waits for her husband to come home later that night to start the madness all over again. The seconds ticking on the clock, with her face beginning to pale and the color drain. She rushes to the kitchen, grabs a knife, and hiding it behind her arm, puts on a face to entertain, and knew he was drunk when he walked in, but he was flushed in the face and speaking profane. The mother cries. The tears run down the father's face as she stabs him again and again and again. Within his chest and at his heart, the blood splatters on her face and her clothes to the point you could not tell them apart. He collapses to the floor, his heart struggling to continue and then to eventually start. Having realized his end, his threats, and his curses on her with his final breath, he angrily imparts. The father cries. The tears run down the mother's face as she picks up her tiny infant in her bloody arms but loving hands. She rushes out of that house, leaving her husband all alone underneath the ceiling fans. She did not know where she was going. She had no clue or even a plan as she struggled and stumbled down that block, tripping over trash and knocking over cans. The infant cries. The tears run down the infant's face. He did not know, nor did he understand, but he was to have a hard life with little escape, having been the product of a night full of domestic violence and consummated rape. He continued to cry, his soul wailing out unknown sorrows with his mouth agape, as his mother carried him down that lonely street, becoming nothing more than a dark and distorted shape. Thank you.